So, coronavirus, I think the biggest impact right now is obviously people's jobs and livelihoods, but secondary, of course, is sports, because sports provide this great escape, right? They provide this, I guess escape is the right word. They provide an escape, and it's just something to look forward to come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I mean, if it just is what it is. People get together, especially during football season. Football season is probably the most, I mean, that's what people look forward to on Sundays. But long story short, basketball is back. There's, they're in the playoffs. Hockey's back. They're in the Stanley Cup. Baseball's back for a very short season, and baseball has definitely had its hiccups. Basketball had some challenges in the beginning, but they seem to be doing good. They are in a bubble. That's helping. They're most notably in tennis. Rafael Nadal has opted out. He's not going to participate in any of the upcoming majors or tournaments, I believe, which is a big deal because you still have Federer and Novak Djokovic, who's still going to basically. They're still going to compete. Those three are the three best all time. They're definitely top 5, top 10 for sure. So it's unfortunate that Nadal won't be playing. But getting back to football, NFL, obviously they're in training camp. There's a lot of concern, most notably in college football. College football, I think, has taken a brunt of everything happening as far as what's going to happen for a season. The Mid-American Conference, the MAC, they've canceled their season. Now, most people probably don't even know what that is. I'll be honest, right? They almost never televise a Mid-American Conference game. If they do, it's because you live in that region. But on a national level, they almost never televise those games unless it's bowl season, unless it's like during a bowl game. I mean, that's usually when you'll see all the various teams you almost never watch or see. For those who don't know, the Mid-American Conference is in Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, and parts of New York. So it's Division I, but it's probably, low-end Division I. I mean, it's by no means Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC, SEC, all that good stuff. So the big thing is that Mid-American canceled their season, and so they're the first Division I conference to say we're done, we're tapping, we're not going to do this, we're not putting our students, players at risk. So it'll be interesting to see what happens because the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are now everybody's kind of looking at them. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to screw this up probably, but there's 5 athletic directors, like they call them like the Power 5 or something. Basically the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are kind of deciding what they're going to do. As of right now, they're moving forward. There's going to be a season, but in the ACC, Kip's neck of the woods in Clemson territory, and Florida State, they're supposed to be starting pads next week. So training camp with pads, meaning they're going to hit and actually play football. So as of right now, it's scheduled, but it'll be the first time I think that football is played. Whether it's professional or college, it's going to be the first time I think pads are used. I don't think the pros are using it. I haven't seen anything, so I could be wrong, but don't hold me to it. But from what I've read, ACC starts next week in pads. Clemson, Florida State, those are the ones that were mentioned. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I love football. I'm a diehard Packer fan, diehard Badger fan. I'm from Wisconsin. It is what it is, right? We all got our home teams. Do I see football happening? I don't see football happening. I want football to happen. I fucking love football. I would love to see a football season, but realistically, if baseball can't do it right, and they don't have a bubble, right? So basketball has a bubble, no issues. Generally speaking, for the most part. You had one guy, sorry, allergies, man, allergies. You had one guy who went to Atlanta, got some wings at a strip club. I get it, right? It's going to happen. Nobody's perfect. But football, baseball, you're social distanced by nature of the sport, right? Now, the Cardinals have gone to casinos and they've done various other things. I'm sure they've done some fun, scandalous stuff. I'm sure. Nobody knows for certain, but it's a fair assessment. There's no bubble. They do what they want. They get sick. Phillies were quarantined. Cardinals quarantined. Every team's had their issues. So now you're talking about football. Full contact, 3 hours, bang, 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 3 hours. Constant contact, very physical, way more physical than baseball. It's not even comparable. Hockey, I think, of all sports, would be the most comparable, and they don't seem to have any issues. I mean, from what I've heard, again, I could be wrong. Don't hold me for certain, but I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen really anything about hockey. If you do, it's very minimal. So hockey is a contact physical sport. I mean, it gives hope for football, but we'll see. You know, with no bubble, I mean, it's really up in the air. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing football players opt out. I mean, baseball, people have opted out. The most notably, being from Wisconsin, Lorenzo Cain, he's the most notable off the top of my head. Played for the Kansas City Royals when they won the World Series. He's center fielder for the Brewers. He opted out. He's done. You know, and it hurts. I mean, he's one of the best players on the team for sure. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some NFL players that opt out. Nadal opted out of tennis. So, I mean, tennis, you're by yourself in middle outdoor stadiums. So, I mean, if he's opting out, it's not going to be without reason that some star football players opt out. Now, are you going to see Tom Brady opt out, or Aaron Rodgers, or Patrick Mahomes? I highly doubt it. They would lose so much money. They would lose endorsement. They're not opting out. If people in the NFL opt out, I would be very surprised if they're superstars. I'll be honest. I think the people who are going to opt out in the NFL are your linemen, your secondary. It's going to be your players who are vital to the team, but not necessarily your Travis Kelce's, your Mahomes, your Rodgers, your Brady's, your Gronkowski's. I would be surprised. I really would. I just think there's a lot of brand recognition and there's a lot of peripheral stuff that happens when you are a Brady-esque figure or a Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably a better example, given that he NFL MVP, Super Bowl MVP, of a gazillion-dollar contract just as of recent. So realistically, he's not opting out. It's not happening. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of maybe like secondary players who are good and definitely are valued and needed, but I don't think your star people who are like your poster child of Madden, Madden video games or SI cover, your SI cover players, people of that caliber. I don't think they're going to be opting out, but it will be interesting. I think football will be an interesting test. American football, for those of you in Europe, obviously, European soccer, or football as they call it, has been going on. They were one of the first sports to come back. And again, soccer is not the most reported sport in the U.S., so I'm not going to say there's no cases, but I mean, in European soccer, they're pretty physical. They tackle. There's a lot of contact. So they haven't had any major scares that have been reported, at least in the U.S. So if you're listening to this in England, basically Europe, England, France, Italy, Spain, maybe there are. I mean, they don't report it here in the States. So